Hello, good morning everyone. Good morning. How is your Josh today? Okay. Today we are discussing about CPU scheduling algorithms. Sir, I might have told about some definitions. Then also I will be telling you. CPU scheduling is nothing but it will happen by system side. It will allocate the time for the process present in the ready queue. You will see many different approaches to explain these algorithms. There are mainly 5 types. You will be seeing that. Yeah, different types of scheduling algorithms. First come, first served scheduling. Shortest job, first scheduling. And then priority scheduling, round robin scheduling, multi-level queue scheduling. First, let's see about first come, first served scheduling. Yeah. First come, first served scheduling. It is a very simplest CPU scheduling algorithm, and it is very easy to understand and write also. Process that requests CPU first will be allocated CPU first. You will be seeing the act for that. This scheduling is mainly managed by FIFO queue. How the queue works? First in, first out. The process which comes first will be terminated first. Then this scheduling is simple to write and understand, as I told. And CPU burst will be given in milliseconds. You need to keep in that mind. And turnover time for any process is waiting time with burst time. As Sir explained yesterday, turnover time is equal to waiting time plus burst time of a process. Any questions? No. Okay. Here is an example where there are 3 processes and burst time of each process will be given here. First process is 24, second process is 3, and third process is also 3. And this is called as Gantt chart for this schedule. And waiting time for P1 is 0, as I told, and average time will be calculated like.
Which order they come? There are 3 processes, P1, P2, P3. In which order they are coming?
First in, first.
From that perspective.
The process where CPU allocates time first will be come into queue and will be executed. Like we will show an act now.
So I am
Operating system.
I am the operating system.
Okay, good. Ready queue? Are you ready? Yes. Come on.
Since he is coming first, right now I am following FCFS scheduling, so I will be allowing him first. Even though there is some other job that comes or that passes through this, I will be allowing only the first process that comes to be executed and not this one. So, this type of scheduling, as clearly explained by Manoj, we will be following what? First come, first serve. So, these are the process 1, this is process 2, and this is process 3. We cannot bypass the operating system in this. Yes or no? Right. And in this way, Manoj will continue.
Yeah. Here we see the arrival time and average waiting time of the whole process. Here, first process takes 24 seconds. Second process takes 24 seconds plus 3. So it is 27. And third process plus 3, it will be 30. Okay, it will be divided by 3 because it is a 3 process. The average time taken by the whole algorithm is 70. Any doubts?
First, individually you have to calculate the waiting time. What is the waiting time for process P1? 0. Because it starts immediately. That is the first one that has got, it starts immediately. What is the waiting time for P2? Because the burst time for P1 is 24. It has to wait until P1 gets completed. So its waiting time is 24. That's what written here. P2 is 24. And waiting time for P3 is 27. And as told by Manoj, we have calculated the average waiting time because at any point of time a system will have multiple processes, right? So as a whole of these 3 set of processes, what is the average waiting time? What is the average waiting time here?
70.
Yeah.
We will see the drawbacks of this first come first serve scheduling algorithm. All the IO process ends up waiting in ready queue until CPU point process is done. Like Carlos came first and he has 24 seconds to complete his process, but Rutik and Pratik should wait for 27 seconds and 30 seconds respectively to complete their process. So till the CPU burn process is done, all the small or any type of process should wait. So this is also called as convoy effect. And this algorithm is non-preemptive. Non-preemptive means like because it will not leave CPU until it completes the process. It will not leave the process in between, like if any interrupt comes. It will complete all the process and then only it will go to the next process. So this is the drawback of first come first serve scheduling algorithm. Now we will see the next type of algorithm called as shortest job first scheduling. This algorithm associates with the length of the process next CPU first. Like next process length will be guessed here. CPU will allocate the memory for shortest burst time present in the ready queue. If two processes have same burst time, then it will follow FCFS will play its role. Like there are four processes like 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 6 seconds and 1 second. The 1 second process will be executed first. Even if it is a last process, it will be executed first because it has a shortest job. It has a shortest length here. So we have two schemes in shortest job first scheduling. Two schemes are non-preemptive and preemptive. In preemptive, once CPU given to the process, it cannot be preempted until completes its first its CPU burst. Like as we saw in FCFS, the process cannot terminate until it's done. So till there is a CPU burst, till that time the process will be in associated with OS. Next scheme is preemptive. If a new process arises with a CPU burst length less than remaining time of current executing process, preempt will happen. This scheme is also known as shortest remaining time first. This will be done with the act, I will show you. And non-preemptive, we will see in a detailed thing. This approach helps in decreasing average waiting period for the processes, where we move short process before long process. As short process move first, there is no need to wait for, even if it is the last process, it will be executed first. So the waiting period will be decreased. This is an example, process arrival time and burst time. Four processes are there, 6, 8, 7, 3. Can you tell which process will be executed first? Yeah, you're right. P4 will be executed first because it is a non-preemptive. This is the shortest job that will be executed first. Like it will take 3 seconds and next P1 is the next smallest thing. Like 6. 3 to 9 it is 6. So 9 to 16 it is 7. So P3 will be executed and it follows. And average time of this algorithm is 0 plus 6 plus 3 plus 7. Adding all the terms we will get this thing.
That is actually nothing but the burst time of all the processes along with the waiting time of all the processes divided by 4. That is totally 4 number of processes are there, right? What is the waiting time for P1 here? What is the waiting time for P1 here? With the help of this gun set, you can easily identify. P1 starts here only. At this time, what is the time here? 3. So it has waited for 3 seconds. What is the waiting time for P2? That's what you can see here. Individually, you have to come up with it. So I am going in this way. What is that? P1, P2, P3, P4. So P1 is 3. But in the slide how Manoj has prepared, it is showing in that order that it has got executed. P4 it is 0. Like that it has given. Anyway, in this perspective, what I am using now, P1, P2, P3, P4. What is the waiting time of P1? 3. What is the waiting time of P2? 16. So 3 plus 16. And then what is the waiting time of P3? 9. 3 plus 16 plus 9. And what is the waiting time of P4? It is 0. So through this way we can calculate, add it up and divide it by 4. We will be calculating the average waiting time. But okay, as usual I will do my job of CPU scheduling.
Ready queue? Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on. Shortest job first scheduling.
Since it is the shortest job first that I follow, I just must take a look of all the 4 processes. and then I will decide on which one to be allowed first. So this one is 3 seconds, this one is 8 seconds, that one is 6 seconds, and the other process is 7 seconds. So I will select which process, the one with the shortest job first. So he will be selected first, and then after that it is process 1 with 6 seconds, and then it is process 3 with 7 seconds, and finally the process with the longest job, that is process 2 with 8 seconds. So following are the order of selecting the jobs that are short to be executed first. So in this way, it is proved that we can reduce the average waiting time. If it is the first come first serve, the longest job, if it is the first one, think of all the shortest job that has been faced. So if it is shortest job they are allowed, the waiting time will all be reduced. Yeah, Manoj will continue.
Here, these are all the waiting times of each process. P1 is 3 seconds, P2 is 16 seconds, P3 is 9 seconds, and P4 is 0 seconds. When we add all these 4, like 3 plus 16, 19, 19 plus 9, it's 28 divided by 4. Because it's a 4 process, if you divide you will get a thing like 7 seconds. 7 seconds is the average waiting time for shortest
That's what I
job.
said, the value got changed there. So make use of this one. This is the actual average waiting time calculation. Okay, what is divided by 4? 4. Because I have only 4 process. 28 divided by 4, it is actually 7. That is the average waiting time. Very good.
And we have OS will be not knowing what will be the next process length, and it cannot decide which to allow. So we have we can predict something using some formula, and Tn plus 1 is equals to alpha Tn plus 1 minus alpha into Tn, where Tn be the length of the burst time of the each process, and Tn plus 1 be the next predicted value. It can be anything that OS will decide what will be the next shortest time. That will be done by the OS. So no need to worry. So this defines the exponential average. This formula defines the exponential average of a process. So, any doubts?
No, Manoj.
Okay. Next we will be going to the subtopic in the shortest job scheduling. It is shortest remaining time first scheduling. That is SRTF, preemptive SJF. This approach is used when they enter a process while other is executing. Like it is same as shortest job scheduling only. If someone with 4 seconds process is executing, if anyone enters after 2 seconds, that 2 seconds only will be executed. Other 2 seconds will be go back to the ready queue. So CPU will check for the shortest remaining time among the process and choose the shortest one. In that, after moving the process, the remaining time queue, the CPU will check which will be the shortest and it will be executed. Always shortest process will be preempted at the rear end of the queue like circular queue. Okay. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Yeah. Here are the 4 process. Arrival time, burst time. Arrival time will be like 0, 1, 2, 3, and burst time for first process is 8, P2 for process 2 is 4, process 3 is 9, and process 4 is 5. Now which one will be executed first?
Just try without seeing the answer itself. He is asking which one will be executed first. Why P1?
Since the arrival time of a P1 is less, so that will be executed first. Then P2, and in middle, after P2 executing 4 seconds, the interrupt came, like P4 came, so P1 will be moved to the ready queue. Again it will be go back to the ready queue and it will be compared with P1 and P3. P1 is less, so P1 will be placed and then P3 will be placed.
System. Now the details are given here. There are 4 processes: P1, P2, P3, P4. Out of that, as you said, the one that will be starting first is what? P1. Not because it is just P1, but because what? its arrival time is 0, which means it is not going to wait for even 1 second. It is going to start first. So by default, I will invite what? The process that arrives at 0 second. Yes, it is what? Process 1. Yes, process 1, please come. Get my CPU time and get executed. So its burst time is how much actually? 8 seconds. I am executing this for 1 second, and at the first second I am getting to know there is another process that comes. Arrival time is 1 second. At time 1, another process comes. Its burst time is what? 4 seconds. So it is my job now to calculate the shortest remaining time first. The remaining time for this process that I am currently executing is 7 seconds. Totally it is 8 seconds. But right now it has got executed for 1 second. The remaining time is 7 seconds. But the new process that arrives at time 1 has job of time only 4 seconds, which is shortest. 4. So I will give time for this process. And I will execute for 1 second, another 1 second. I am moving through the Gantt chart now. I need time 2 now. Okay, at time 2, I can see there is another process that is coming. That is process 3. Arrival time is 2. And I will check now the currently executing process. What is the burst time? 4. It has already got executed for 1 second, from 1 to 2. Right? So now the time remaining for this job is 3 seconds. And for the new job, what is the burst time? 9 seconds. So which is the shortest?
3 seconds.
This one itself. So I will continue the execution of this process itself. At time 3, the time 3 will get, and then another process at time 3 from 0, 1, 2, 3. Right, now we are in time 3. That is another process that comes at arrival time 3. Now for this, what's the burst time? 5 seconds. Now this process already executed 3 seconds or 2. 2 seconds it has executed. What's the remaining time? 2. The remaining time is 2, and the remaining here it is actually 5. So which one I will continue? With this itself. So this will get over at what time? It has started its execution in 1, and the total burst time for process P2 is 4 seconds. So it will execute until time 5. So P2 will now complete its execution. Okay. But by the time I have selected which one to execute and which one not to consider, what will happen for this first process that has started execution? He should feel bad. He may feel bad, right? Of course, he is feeling bad. We can all see that. But he will be the first one waiting in the ready queue. I have pushed all the 3 processes aside. Out of all the 3 processes, the first one that I have pushed will be waiting in the ready queue first, and the second one I have pushed will be waiting in the second, and the third one I have pushed will be waiting third. So it will be working in the form of a circular queue. The one that has got executed, of course, if it terminates, it will go out of the queue itself. It has nothing to do left in the ready queue, right? It has completed its execution successfully and happy. You can also see that in Rishi Kumar's face, right? But the other jobs that has been preempted in between during the execution, the one that has got preempted first will just wait in the ready queue. The one that got preempted second will be waiting in the second. And now I will be continuing with what? Now we are in time 5. Yes or no? Now we are in time 5. I am going to continue the job with process. Yes. P4, which is actually P2 is what got over, right? Yes. Okay, with 4 seconds. And now P4.
Since it is the shortest time, the P4 will take.
Okay. Now the thing to be considered is very good. What is the thing? What's the time left out for this job? Though it is now ready queue concept you got, right? Which one will be ready in the? Which one will be waiting in the ready queue in which order? Right. Now what's the time left for this process?
7.
Totally it is 8. Out of that,
1 second.
1 he has got executed. The remaining time is 7. Now consider the shortest job in the ready queue. 7 for this process and 8 for this process and 4 for this process. 4 or 5? 4 for this process. So which one I will select? The one that is shortest. 4 or 5? It has not executed actually. It will be totally what? 5. So I will be selecting only this process. That is why you can see here process 4 that will continue its execution from time 5. At time 5, do I need to check is there any process still coming? As of now with this example, There is no other process. So my only job is to check the shortest job that a process have out of all the process in the ready queue. Which is the shortest one? This process P4. What's the time left out? 5. So from 5 to 10, this process will get complete its execution. And then from 10, now I am in 10, I will see what are the other processes that are remaining. 3 and 1, and it is having some 7 seconds left out, and it is having some 8 seconds left out. So which one to be executed now? The one with the shortest remaining time first. The remaining time shortest for this process only. So I will execute this process for 7 seconds. That's why you can see here 10 to 7, that is 17. Process 1 also have got successfully completed its execution. And then what's the only remaining process? Only we have one process and its execution burst time left out is 9 or 8. Burst time is 9. What is remaining? Is it fully as it is, or it has just completed any 1 second at least? It has still not got admitted by the CPU. From the beginning you can see that P3 is not at all got into the scheduling. Which means all the time is what? Remaining. No problem. I am free now. There is no other process. So I will execute this process. Whatever may be the time. I don't need to compare with any other process. So those 9 seconds will be allocated for this process and it will complete its execution. And that's why you can see here from P3 from 17. 9 burst time is totally 26. This way of allocating the CPU time to the process based on the shortest remaining time, not the shortest job, the shortest remaining. Why? Because what is the remaining here refers to? Already I have executed a few part of that process. Only this much time is left out. What is remaining? Which means we are doing preemption. This is nothing but preemptive shortest job first. What is it otherwise also called as? Preemptive shortest job first. If it is not preempted, it is actually the SJF alone. We will not preempt anything. Whatever is short, we will execute first. And here if you see that average waiting time. What is the average waiting time we are getting?
According to this, P1 waits at first time 0 and then 9, so it's 9 milliseconds. P2, it doesn't wait only one time, it will wait for 1 millisecond. T3, 17 milliseconds, and T4 for 5 milliseconds. Adding all things and divided by number of processes, we will get the average waiting time.
So as you have seen, this is actually handled as a flip class by Manoj, Niti Kumar, Mehul, Santosh,
Camera.
Sachindar, Prati, Manjunath and Putin and also Punit. Still they are capturing actually. I would like to thank all of them. Manoj, since he volunteered for this, I just told him just make it interesting. That's it. This entire plan of moving the making the students to act as a process and coming with them all our idea, all the ideas, Manoj's idea only. And still, yeah.